G'day fellas, and welcome to a very rare Aussie Drongo video where we're going to be looking at a strategy that is probably going to get nerfed into the ground in the next couple of weeks, I would suspect. This strategy is something that's slowly being developed, and we actually covered this for the first time on a different video. And essentially, the way that it works is this. You're going to sacrifice a lot of your villagers, but you're going to build a Barbican right next to the enemy town center. That's what's going to be happening today, and I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. Let's introduce our players. On the north side, playing as the Chinese, we've got Crackety here in the color red. And on the south side of the map, in the color blue, playing as the French, we've got Puppy Paw, one of the best players in the world. He's going to be going up against this strategy. And the question is, how do you deal with this strategy? Because I really don't know the answer to this, and especially once at the lower levels this really starts to penetrate, I suspect it's going to be incredibly frustrating for a lot of the lower level players, and I suspect that the developers might potentially look at a way to nerf this. And I can suspect a couple of ways that they could look to do it. So one of the first ways would be, if you're familiar with the way that they nerfed the Mongol town center, is putting a build limit on that town center as to where it can drop down. So you can't drop down the main Mongol town center very, very close to the enemy town center. So there's actually a limit. So here as an example, we've got Puppy Paw's town center. Maybe you could make the Mongol town center somewhere around here. So I think that could be one of the ways that it gets done. But I think the other way that they could do it is maybe reduce the build speed of the Barbican. I think that could be an option, but then that's a more broad nerf to China. So let's take a look over in the base of Crackety. Let's ride on board with him, because you're probably wondering, how do you do this build order? So you start off going out 6 vills onto food, and then he's got the Imperial official gathering up at that mill, starting to rally out villagers over towards wood as well. He's going to go up to 5 villagers on wood. Now, one of the things to note is that we always open with a village when we're doing this. Apologies, my mouse is doing its thing. So we always open with a village, gives us a little bit more population space. And what he's going to be looking to do is drop down a barracks very, very close to this mill. And what you're going to be doing is juggling. I like to call it juggling the supervision. So for anybody who doesn't know how supervision works, you can supervise production buildings like a barracks, like an archery range, or you can supervise an economy building like the mill, like the lumber camp. And when you supervise an economic building like this, it gives you an extra 20% when you're dropping off. But the thing is, you only need to be supervising when you drop off. So what you can do is you can sync up your drop-offs so that you're always dropping off at the same time. And then that frees up all the other time for your Imperial official to be supervising something else. And so we can see now Crackety is going to be dropping down the barracks immediately adjacent to his mill. And what he's going to be looking to do is rally these spearmen into the town center and just keep them safe in there. You don't really want your enemy to know how many spears you've got, and if they do see them visibly, then they get confirmation, whereas if they don't see the number on the town center, then it's a little bit different. But we can see he's now moving out, looking to pick up a little bit of gold early on. The idea is that we never go to gold when we're doing this opening, and he's gathered up enough wood now for his spears. So the reason why he's gathered up this wood for this many spears is he needs to be careful of a villager pull. And he also needs to be careful of a knight. A knight could end his campaign here. The other thing to note is behind this, Crackety really needs to make sure that he's got enough resources back home to continue living life, living your best life back home. So making sure that you've got enough resources to train villagers and to continue gathering up food. So you can see a lot of villagers here now. He's got 15 villagers on food, 16th villager coming out. So a lot of vills here on food, and Spears slowly moving into the town center. He's going to continue rallying up, and he's looking for a place to drop down the town center. Now, the thing is, if you do scout this, and we'll ride on board with Puppy Paw, if you do scout this, there are ways that you can beat this. Now, the reason why this is so strong is because what's going to happen is this Barbican is going to probably come down somewhere around this region. He's got another good spot over here, which he could kind of extend himself out over to the gold. Probably, actually, now that, because he's got berries over here as well, you'd go for Barbican right here, up against the School of Cavalry and the town center. Now, what you can do on the defense, it's very simple. You just put up a couple of little walls. That's it. And the idea is that the Barbican needs to be close enough to the town center that it stops villager production. And he's going to be completely stopping the villager production. You won't be able to get any villagers out of the town center because they will get one shot by the Barbican, because you actually garrison units inside the Barbican, so it follows up with additional arrows. And the problem is, the Puppy Paw, he's not really scouting for it. He's not suspecting it. So his way of dealing with this is not going to work because, well, he doesn't have a way of dealing with this. We can see that he's moving out, looking to take a second town center here, just thinking that Crackety's going to be playing a standard Chinese style. Meanwhile, this is happening. a lot of villagers here. So 15 villagers coming out. Knight going to be running through them. And the villagers immediately throw down the Barbican next to the town center. He pops plenty of vills in the town center. And you can see how quickly he's able to take out the villagers. He's one-shotting each of these villagers here. The problem is, this Barbican is coming up very, very quickly. I don't know if you can see how quick that is, but he's still got 13 villagers at this point in time. So when this Barbican comes up, it is pretty much just good game from this point. I mean, you can try and play it out from here, but you got to remember that China's going to be able to make a lot of... And there's one villager going down there. So in total, Crackety has still got... How many vills has he got? 13. So he's only lost 2 villagers in the time that it took for that Barbican to come up. So that one's going on the thumbnail. Let me get a quick picture of that right there. Because this strategy, I believe, will be nerfed. I genuinely think this strategy will be reduced to ashes by the developers because it's way too strong. It's way too good. The spearmen in particular are what make this strategy really, really difficult to deal with, because if you do try and pull villagers, which is one of the common things that people do, the spearmen are going to be able to block. They're going to be able to provide a really solid defense. And now we can see Crackety looking to expand out. He's actually going to be bringing a few villagers over here, just so you can see that there was a villager that survived on 7 health. He doesn't want these villagers to be getting through, and so he's bringing more villagers over into the Barbican just so that it's got a couple of extra shots. And he's completely locked down this town center. And keep in mind, behind this, Crackety is now making villagers back at home. So even though he lost villagers in the attack, he's going to be able to do that. And you can see the sheep trying to escape, the Barbican able to fire down upon them. The villager goes down here on the tree line. And this is what's so difficult to deal with in this matchup, is now this town center is gone. So at the moment, Puppy Paw is thinking, well, I need to get a second town center up so that I am still, you know, so that I've got a income of villagers coming through. But obviously then that means that Crackety could potentially look at a second town center. He can look to move into Chukunu. He can look to move into towers as an option for himself. But it's a very simple opening, and I think that's part of the reason why this strategy will be nerfed. I don't think that this is going to be around for much longer, where you've got people going for Barbicans. And remember, the Barbican is a defensive landmark, and, you know, it's not particularly defensive right now. Villager going to come out. Let's see if he's able to take it out. Vil actually popped inside the TC. That was pretty good by him. One of the things that you can do is look to stack up villagers into the town center. So get up 3, 4, 5, and then make a run for it. You will lose one, but the other 4 will get out. But you've got to be very careful. You've got to time it perfectly. And we can see now the next Vil's going to come through as well. Comes in, and he makes a run for it. First Vil. Does he keep it alive? Oh, he keeps them both alive. Look at that. So it did actually split damage, and he manages to get both of them out there. So really nice play by Puppy Paw. But obviously, dealing with this kind of attack, it's incredibly frustrating for Puppy Paw. The fact that he's lost a town center, he's lost his main landmark as well. He loses all of these safe resources under his base. There's a lot of sheep carcasses under here as well. And now the spears are going to be moving out. And you can see Crackety is looking to put on pressure back home. More spears going to be coming out now. And obviously, this is extra nice up against the French, a civilization which really loves to be going for that early cavalry. And Crackety just really focusing on getting out those spears. Meanwhile, towards the base of Puppy Paw, it's not pretty. Let's just say that much. Town center now going to be coming down over here on the deer. He's looking to try his best to get it up, and he's running a lot of vills over here, but keep in mind, a lot of these guys are quite low on the health. You can see Crackety's pulled ahead 4 villagers at this point in the game. Town center going to be coming up. Spears running through. He's looking to try and find a bit of low health vills. Not going to be able to find the ones there towards the backside. So it looks like this town center should get up without too many losses. I think he might get one if he's lucky. There we go. TC pops in. Still some vills out here that are quite low, so he could look to try and get them. There's a second vill he's going to be able to find. And now these spears just going to cause plenty of rampage down here. But this secures up a nice little food source now for Puppy Paw. But obviously this has been a big investment for him on this bottom side. Keep in mind that Crackety, he's doing his own thing behind this, whether he's looking for potential Song Dynasty, whether he's looking for a ram attack. He's got a lot of options as to the way he looks to play it. He's managed to steal away a lot of his enemy's resources as well. Keep that in mind. We see those vills starting to move out. Arrowslits has come through on the outpost. He's just going to start to bust through. I think it might be that the Crackety's looking to maybe bring a couple of villagers up towards this stone outcropping, something that he likes to do often. And he's going to be careful with his villagers. We do see that he's going to be losing a second villager up here, so already losing quite a few. He's got the 6 vill lead, though. Remember, he's not in Song Dynasty at this point, so that's one thing to note. With no Song Dynasty means no faster villager acceleration, but I think the big thing that's important to remember is in a game like this, Puppy Paw, he is an exceptionally good player, top 5 player. Now remember, I got 12 players in my top 5, but what's important to remember is he's a very, very solid player. And if he's having this much trouble up against an attack like this, imagine somebody in you know, diamond or plat, what kind of problem they're going to have. And now we start to see more aggression coming out from Crackety. Keep in mind, I'll be leaving links in the description to where you can catch both of these players live over on Twitch if you're interested in seeing them and seeing their magic happen live. It of course is a thing of beauty, and we now start to see defensive buildings starting to come out. We can see a knight also in queue. Immediately goes into the town center and just kind of holds position. Does come out. Gonna take a few little shots here from the Barbican. Just a little bit of damage. And now a ram going to be coming through from Crackety. So Crackety really looking to put the hurt on. Archers should be able to help defend this. The main issue that he's going to have is there are so many villagers underneath this town center. They'll be able to siege through this battering ram very quickly. If Crackety doesn't pay attention, he will lose a lot. But we can start to see the knights now coming out. Might be able to pick off a spearman. Not going to go for it. Going to start looking. I think he's just looking for villagers. We can see him with a rally point out towards the food on the top side of this map, obviously denying away quite a fair bit of his enemy's food. We see him over on this east side picking up a lot of the food. Very aware that his enemy may be looking for raids. So Crackety now going to be adding in a second battering ram. A lot of spears here as well. He's really committing to this attack. He knows that if he takes down this town center, that realistically Puppy Paw doesn't have much of a way to get back into this game. We're right on board with him. He spots out the outpost, but doesn't really know what else is happening. And we can see that knight still looking around for villagers. He's got some nice little waypoints in here, but still really struggling. Villager production is behind slightly where the enemy is, but keep in mind, Crackety, not yet with the Song Dynasty, so he's not out producing the French player, but the battering rams are making their way in. They've had second thoughts. They've moved back. Is he going for a third one? The third one will almost kill confirm here. You're gonna have to have perfect micro. The archer numbers are starting to build up though. I will say that much. So he doesn't really have a way to deal with these archers. But if he's, you know what Crackety could do here? He could just go for the throat. I don't actually think that's a bad idea. You go straight for the throat. 0 out of 15 here. There's no vills to even defend on that. Like, obviously, you have to pull the archers, and then you could use the outpost to zone him. But with the archer numbers here, he's going to look to try and focus down the town center. Villagers are going to get pulled. He tries to bring them back towards the outpost. And the outpost fires off towards the vills. He's balancing, keeping it as best as he can. And look at the sheep towards the front here, intentionally blocking off each of these battering rams. Honestly, I feel like just go for the throat right now. I mean, there's no real risk of Puppy Paw going castle age and staying alive for a little bit longer. So I think you could definitely go for that, but he's going to continue pushing the agenda here. Throws down another outpost. Arrow slits is coming through, or rather, hand cannon slits is coming through. And now actually able to hit over that wood line, which is going to make it really, really difficult here for Puppy Paw. And we can see additional outposts coming down. Villagers going to be able to focus down the battering ram. First one under pressure. He's got more spears on the back line. It looks like that battering ram is going to take a fair bit of a hit here. Keep in mind, he can always pull in vills to repair. He's got plenty of resources in the bank. 125 wood should be more than enough. And really suffering now with this attack that's coming through. But the second outpost has come up, and this is going to make it a lot more difficult to deal with because those villagers aren't going to be able to put pressure on at the front. You can see that Vils immediately just getting eviscerated right there. Crackety's starting to really pull away on the worker kills. He's up to 14 worker kills at the moment, and we see up towards the north side, Knight chasing away the scout. And now Puppy Paw going to have to move over to the next part of the map. You can see these rams are going to get pulled together, but still over towards the central base. We don't see any counterattack or anything happening towards that. All the focus is over here towards this west base. And Good Game's going to get called. Puppy Paw just going to tap out. And there you go. That is the power right there of this attack. It's such a difficult attack to deal with. So my question to you is, do you think this is overpowered? Do you think this is probably a little bit too difficult? Does it need to be toned down? Leave your opinion in the comments, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Check out these two creators. I'll leave links in the description. I'll catch you guys later.